Hello, everyone. Welcome to FHP, more formally known as the Football Home Podcast. And again, it's a group of friends from all around the world talking about a sport we all love called football. We usually have our episodes on Tuesday, but today's going to be on Thursday, slightly off. But yeah, I guess we can. I don't know what's happening with Abdis. Maybe he's hiding, he's shy to see our millions of viewers. I don't know what's happening with him. Um, but yeah, I guess we can just jump into it. We'll just talk about the Premier League game week 7, which feels like an eternity ago. So it might be a tough task to remember the games as they've happened. Um, just a second. So the first game we're going to be talking about is going to be the Aston Villa versus Southampton game, which was the first game week. Obviously, we know that Stephen Gerrard is someone that I think is going to be in trouble in terms of his position as manager. But with this win, things might be kind of looking up for him. And then just running up the stats for the game, it looks like Aston Villa had majority of the possession in the game. They had about 11 shots versus Southampton 7 shots, and the lineup they used, Aston Villa was a 4-5-1 formation. Then Southampton went for a 4-5-1 formation too. So yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on the game?
I didn't personally watch this game.
Yeah,
I was watching the other game that was on at the same time, so I'll probably have more to say with on the more exciting game of the night, which was the Fulham versus Forest game. But what I've read about what happened was that it was kind of a dirty, kind of scruffy match. It wasn't a clean football game, and it was one of those games where, I mean, at the end of the day, Aston Villa got a goal in and they won. I do think that both teams have had hits and misses over the course of the season so far. But I think after the City win and now getting not the City win, but drawing against City and then coming in after like a week off because of the games being postponed, and then coming into game week 8 and getting a win, I think it's going to be something that's going to just help Aston Villa moving forward. They've got the momentum now. So my question is, how is this, international 2 week break is how is that going to affect them going into the next game, which is in the first week of October? So it's interesting to see. I do think that Aston Villa was the better team at the end of the
mm,
day, based on the two teams. But I mean, Southampton is like a dark horse in this Premier League. We've seen them do great things against great teams. So I wouldn't count them out yet.
yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I think there was like a total of like 4 fouls in that game, just yellow cards, and then obviously Jacob Ramsey's goal in the first half managed to secure Aston Villa a much needed victory. I
Yep.
guess from that, we can just jump onto the Nottingham Forest game versus Fulham, which was a total of
That
five
game
goals. It was
was
just insane. So
that game
also,
was
yeah,
amazing.
I mean, it was kind of filled with fouls as well. I think there was about 7 yellow cards handed out, and then there was a handful of goals as well. I'll just try
Hmm.
jump onto the stats for that game. Um, Fulham dominated the possession of the game. Potentially, maybe that's why they won by 60%. And then obviously, Nottingham Forest had 40% in terms of possession. They
Hmm.
both had an equal amount of shots, 15 to 11. And yeah, in terms of head to head, I think Fulham has always won against Nottingham Forest in the second division league, and Fulham used a 3-4-3 formation, and then Nottingham Forest opted for a 4-3-4 as well. What are you guys' thoughts on the game?
I'll go first if anybody doesn't want to. Can you guys hear me good?
Yes.
Okay, first of all, mad respect to anybody who put Mitrovic in their teams, including me. I put him too. And I was
Yeah,
like, please. The man
Yeah.
has scored. The man has scored a goal or two in every game week. And last week, when we had to rotate so much because we had to substitute players left and right because of some games getting postponed, uh, we were hoping that Mitrovic would probably step in and cover for the people that were actually not playing, and it was bad. It was bad. Mitrovic really let us down. But coming to the game, I think Nottingham Forest are a team that require a little time. Let's face it, the club signed 22 new players, which means their starting 11 completely changed from what it was last year, and they need some time. And considering the fact that they are still new, they're still trying to like understand how things are going around. They get comfortable with each other. I think they're performing really well. And if Nottingham Forest can survive relegation this season, I think they can actually be a mid-table club in the next 3 to 4 years. And Fulham are doing really good for their standards. But these two clubs are two clubs that I'd really like to succeed. I don't mind West Ham getting relegated. I don't mind Everton getting relegated. I don't mind Aston Villa getting relegated. At the end of the day, these two teams should survive. I think that's something I want to see.
I agree. And I mean, this is just what we want to see from teams that just getting promoted, and they just deliver. Then you will have matches where they are struggling against bigger teams, but both teams, they knew, okay, we are going to face another team that just got promoted. We need to do our absolute best, because they know at the end of the day it will probably be those that will fight against each other to survive. And that's just what you want to see. And I mean, yeah, I think both teams are going to survive, but I think clearly it will be difficult for both. But I think both Fulham and Nottingham is really looking like teams that really wants to do something new and really come with some kind of hungriness, that I don't know if I think Bournemouth have as much. So yeah, really great to see these two teams just do their absolute best.
Yeah, I guess that will sum it up. We'll jump on to the next game, which is the Wolves versus Man City game. Not too sure if is his name Diego Costa made an appearance. I doubt.
No, we didn't.
No, but it's quite interesting that all everyone in City's front three scored, which is Jack Grealish, obviously Erling Haaland, flipping scores every game now at this point, and then Phil Foden scored a goal as well, and then Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva getting some important assist points in that game. Obviously, City dominated the game from the scoreline and with possession by getting 60% possession. And both teams played the typical 4-3-3 formation. And obviously, by the looks of it, City really got the best of Wolves here. And obviously, Erling Haaland getting man of the match was quite obviously a no-brainer. Thoughts on that?
I just want to say that Wolves didn't give up. Wolves actually gave City, even though the scoreline doesn't say it, they actually gave City a game. It wasn't like a walkover. City did score. I mean, I predicted the score.
That,
I did predict they would win 3-0 in the predictor, and I got it right. But doesn't surprise me because, I mean, history would say City would beat Wolves. So it wasn't a surprise that they got beaten. But this is a different Wolves team. The only problem that this Wolves team is what they've had in the past. They can't score goals. They don't score enough goals to get them over the line. If they, I mean, I don't know if it's injury problems. Jimenez was in there, and yeah, I don't know what's happening with Wolves because Connor Cody left. A lot of people left that team, and I mean, Connor was the captain, and he left on loan to Everton. So that just tells me there's a lot going on behind the scenes that maybe we don't know that's affecting the team. But yeah, I mean, I'm not even going to talk about Haaland. I'm not even going to talk about him because I feel like we're going to talk about him every week. But I was surprised at Grealish's performance. He did pretty well. and scoring a goal in the first minute of the game, like under the first minute. Like I'm glad he got a goal in his first goal for the season. But it was a great game to watch. But like Wolves wasn't a walkover. But I feel like Wolves are gonna get either they're gonna be in a relegation battle at the end if they don't pull up their socks, so to speak. Because they're teetering near the bottom of the. I think they're in the bottom three right now. I'm not sure. I haven't checked the table yet.
I don't think Wolves are in the bottom three right now. But if she had to make a bold prediction for the season, yes, Wolverhampton, if they continue to play this way, they probably might see relegation. But I think that's difficult because of the way how Nunes is performing and how Guedes from Valencia, the guy, is performing. I think these two are talents to look out to. I mean, I think Nunes is wasting his career at Wolverhampton. He could have had signed
Yeah.
for any great club out there and he would have done great. I think signing for Wolves was a bad
You
idea.
should have gone to Liverpool. So saying.
I mean, I think he would have actually done a great job at Liverpool because if you look at the Liverpool midfield, you'd realize you don't have a physical baller over there. Like, someone who can hold the ball, is physical, and can at the same time be creative as well. Like Thiago does that, Alcantara, but he's not physical. Naby Keita is physical, he's quick, but he's not a great dribbler. He cannot hold the ball for so long. So I think Matheus Nunes would be a great addition to Liverpool. And I think I agree with Warren when he says that Wolves gave like a really good fight because even after the red card, you could see that these players were putting in extra effort. You could see the work rate was very high. So if a team can put in that kind of effort, I think getting them to get to say that they'll probably face relegation, I think is a little bit of overstatement. But you don't know. Anything you predict this season is like a bold
Yeah.
prediction because nobody knows what happens after the World Cup ends. That's when the fatigue sets in. That's when the fixture
Yeah.
congestion sets in, and that's when you exactly want to know how everything is going to happen.
Yeah.
And how about how City played? I think Foden, as usual, played great. Grealish, I think. I wouldn't rely on him that much. He plays good, but I wouldn't rely on him that much. And Haaland, what can I say about Haaland? Come on, he's a future Real Madrid captain. I mean,
I will say that Grealish needs to wear longer socks. Maybe that will work.
I think I might be against that. He has cool looking calves, so there's that.
It bothers me. I don't know why.
I don't think those are human calves for sure. I mean,
No, it's
man
not.
is so sleek. You look at him, you look at his calves, and you probably think, "Oh, there's a sumo like like a sumo wrestler from Japan." He's probably that's the kind of calves somebody has. Like, you probably look at his calves and you think, "Oh, he's a sumo wrestler." Then it's just a very frail Jack Grealish. So you're like, how?
Andreas,
It does modeling on the side. It does modeling on the side. So maybe it's just maybe.
I just looked it up, and Wolves are 17 like right now in the table, so right behind.
So yeah.
And I just looked up their goal difference. They scored three goals so far this season and conceded 7. So I absolutely agree with Rowan that it's not looking good. It's not looking good. It's really not.
I mean,
looking
Everton is playing better than Wolves right now. So I'm just saying.
Who is?
Everton. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird because Cody went to Everton and Everton is beating Wolves right now. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I
mean,
mean Wolves has been a top 10 team the last, I don't know how many.
I mean, I agree, but then let's face it. Wolves have played really bad, but I think the problem is lying in the striking, and they don't have a proper poacher. That was Raul Jimenez, but then ever since his skull injury, I think he has kind of slowed down a bit. Maybe that is why they signed Diego Costa. But then I don't think I agree with Andreas and even Bob Wren completely because I think Wolves are not going to face a relegation battle for sure. I mean, I think
No,
they'll
but
be
if they
okay
continue, no, but
somewhere around
what we
16th and 15th.
But what we're saying is that if they continue to play like this, because other teams are stepping it up, and they're the teams they are being consistent for the wrong reasons, and they up there with West Ham, who's not performing well. So what I'm
Right.
saying is, if something doesn't change after this international break, the fixtures are not going to get easier. They're going to still need to face Liverpool. They still need to face Manchester United. They still need to face Arsenal. They still need to face, Spurs. I'm just
United.
saying. Yeah, I'm
United.
just saying. Yes, I said United also. So I'm just saying that if something doesn't, maybe bringing Costa in is gonna make a difference. Because but I don't know. Let's see what happens.
I
I
think
Yeah,
think Costa is he has potential to be the signing they need because it
you're
is
right.
goals that they need, like 3 goals in seven
absolutely.
I
eight
think it
games.
is
That's
more to do
Yeah.
with physicality. Now, Raul Jimenez is sort of, just slowed down a little because of his skull injury. So I think what they need is aggressiveness. They need a bull-headed player up there, and I think Diego Costa is the best person to do it. He's
yeah,
bull-headed. He'll
yeah,
break you into two if he needs that goal, and I think
yeah,
it's possible.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yep.
he
and
definitely is.
experience.
Yeah, definitely is a huge personality. I guess we can jump onto the I said new game because of Newcastle. The next game, which is Newcastle versus Bournemouth. We saw Philip Billing scoring first for Bournemouth, and then Alexander Isak scored a penalty. He seems to be a goal threat, the new signing for Newcastle. Oil money.
Mm.
In terms of possession, they seem to have really dominated the game, Newcastle, by having 72% possession, which is crazy for a team like Newcastle. And both teams played in a 4-3-3 formation. And the person that won man of the match was one of my favorite players now, which is Kieran Trippier, who I always have on my FPL team. So, yeah, that was awesome. Thoughts on the game?
Yeah, Bournemouth is they've been doing better since surprisingly since the other manager was sacked. So I think the interim guy that's there, Gary, whatever his name is, he's doing a good job because he's actually shaped them into more like they're putting up more of a fight. I feel like, and the fact that they're actually scoring goals now is also like counter the fact they scored against Nottingham. They came back from from behind and won, and then they drew against Newcastle, which is Newcastle isn't an easy team to beat. Like I mean, we saw City, Liverpool, like they're not easy to beat. It's gonna be interesting now that Isak is injured. What's gonna happen? Because Wilson is out, Isak is out. Um, I think somebody else, Maximum is out. Say Maximum is out. So
Mm.
yeah, I don't know if the international break is gonna be just what Newcastle needs to bring back. So some of those players that was injured. But yeah, between the two teams, it was a good game. It was a good game to watch. I watched the entire game. It wasn't a boring game. Let's just put it like that. It was an entertaining game, and the fact that Bournemouth didn't get rolled over or walked
Mm.
over, I guess they didn't
Says
get
something.
they didn't get tarnished like with the Liverpool game. Um, yeah, I mean, there's hope for them. They're not at the bottom, so there's teams that's playing worse than them. Let's just say Leicester.
Yeah, I mean, with Newcastle, Isak getting injured is clearly not good, but they did fine without him for the first, I don't know, 3 game weeks, or how long it was before the deal went through. So they have shown they can, but the problem is that they have so many injuries right now, and that's worrying. But I don't know. I think Newcastle just seems like a team that really knows what they're doing. Like they seem like they don't rely on one or two players. They clearly they have better than other players. That
Yes.
makes sense, Maximum Isaac. But I feel like they have shown they are a really strong team
Hmm.
that uh, that can make it work no matter who is injured.
Yeah,
Of course, it will be difficult. That of course, but I think they can make it work. And I think they look really strong, and I'm pretty confident they will end up in top 10 this season.
yeah.
I sort of agree, but I think I watched the game, Bournemouth versus Newcastle. It was a Newcastle slow build up, them trying to score a goal. They lose a lousy possession, like they make a lousy pass and lose possession. Bournemouth hit on the counter attack. and then it somehow gets stopped because Bournemouth players weren't that great at counter attack. So that was the game basically. And if I were a Liverpool fan and I wanted to change something, I'd probably go back and change the Bournemouth versus Liverpool game because it has. Let's face it, it has been a curse for both teams. Yeah, Bournemouth, they started doing better after that. It was in the moment bad, but then after that they started doing better. But Liverpool, who actually looked like they were more promising, they started to play bad after that. They're getting really close wins, 1 goal difference wins. They're getting goals in the last minute, and then they're trying to get a win. So Liverpool are actually struggling after that game. So I think the game was overall really great, but the problem with Newcastle is they have three main sources of outputs. Okay, from what I've figured out, one of them is Sin Maximin. Second is Guimaraes, right? But he's not doing that great. Maximin is the kind of guy that can not perform in the final third, but he can break through those lines. He gives you that fast, rapid counter-attacking option, and that is what is missing at the moment for them. Isak is great, but I wouldn't rely on him. He is unpredictable. I'm telling you, at the moment he's great, but then he is going to bottle. He's going to vanish midway through the season. You mark my words if you want to. But Maximin definitely is what they're missing. And the third most important outlet for Newcastle is Kieran Trippier. It's very unlikely. I mean, he's a fullback, but he's an important outlet for them. And when he stops performing, set pieces, he's bringing in that creativity, and you don't expect that kind of creativity from a fullback unless you turn to Alexander-Arnold. So if you don't have Trippier in your fantasy team right now, go back and put him. He's so cheap right now. I'm telling you, he's probably going to get more expensive in the coming future. But the game was really great, and I really, as a neutral fan, I really enjoyed it. I did.
Yeah, I guess that'll sum it up. We'll jump on to the next game, which was Spurs, who's performing amazing against Leicester, who's almost like the mirror opposite of Spurs in terms of performance, even where they are in terms of the league positioning. But this game, we saw Spurs. We saw Spurs have about 8 people have goal contributions in one game, so that's quite awesome. Obviously, there's going to be plenty to talk about that. Son wasn't in the starting lineup for obvious reasons that he wasn't performing well in the first 5-6 game weeks. And then the one time he's put on bench, he proved a point. So we'll chat about that. Statistically, obviously, we know that Tottenham will not be the best in terms of keeping possession. They had about 43%, while Leicester had 56%. And it looks like they didn't do much with the with the ball. It's almost like Conte was Mourinho 2.0 with you guys can keep the ball, we'll keep the 3 points. But yeah, in terms of the formation, Leicester played in a 4-5-1, and then Spurs went with the typical back three in a 3-4-3 formation. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Andreas, you can...
Yeah, I think I've already said this before. Leicester is... But it's not even the same team anymore. Like it was last year and the last couple of years. Schmeichel is the main reason I'm going to keep saying that. Yeah, I have to be biased. But yeah, I really think defensive is their biggest problem, because even in this game against a pretty good Spurs team, they scored 2 goals. Like that's pretty impressive when you think about how they're doing right now. So the problems really is in the defensive, and there surely is bigger problem or more problems than just Schmeichel. But I think it's just clear when you have one of the best keepers in the world, he goes away and this starts happening. Stop, Abu. You know it's true.
I'm not saying anything. That's just my facial expression.
At least he's better than most others. We can agree on that, right?
Who?
Schmeichel.
He's better. Schmeichel is better
than let's say 70% of all keepers. Okay, let's just move on. I would don't understand.
So that game was I think out of all the game weeks, it was one of the most exciting games to watch.
Absolutely.
I'm echoing for some reason. But anyway, so yeah, Sun didn't start. And it was almost like they couldn't have scripted it better this game, because when it came on, it was like they had tears in his eyes, and it was like, I've got a point to prove, and he came on, he said his little prayer, and he came on, and in 13 minutes scores like 3 goals, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, and I mean, I'm like, what
Man of the
happened?
match.
What is going on here? But I mean, overall, the whole Spurs team did amazingly, and it was quite surprising because, like when Richard said at the beginning, Leicester had 50% of the possession. I'm like, what? How do you lose? But anyway, what I'll say about Leicester is if they didn't have Madison, like
Trouble.
I'll just write them off, because you can't even talk about Vardy. He's old and non-issue. But yeah, Spurs looking dangerous, even though they're not the most clinical team at the moment. But Kane, Bentancur, Son. I mean,
Oibia,
like,
it goes on.
yes, like, if you don't have Spurs players in your fantasy team right now, you're an idiot, because like they are contributing, even the midfield scoring goals. Like, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So yeah, Spurs is definitely one of the teams to watch this season. I'm just saying. You can say
But
what you want to, but
do you think this win, is it how big it is? Is that because of how good Spurs is, or is it because of how bad Leicester is? Like 6-2, is that because Spurs is great or because Leicester is bad?
it's both.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
but if
both.
you had to choose, like, will you say?
I can't choose. Yeah, in this aspect, I won't choose, because
Okay.
Spurs has won. Spurs has won or drew and a draw in almost. They haven't lost the game yet. They have not lost the game yet. Think about it. They have not lost the game yet. They're like at the same rate that City is. City hasn't lost the game yet, but they haven't won every game yet. But whereas Leicester is, they haven't won one single game, not one. So I mean,
Yeah.
there's
I
your
mean,
answer.
if I had to choose, what was the reason for the scoreline? I would say there's three main reasons. Sorry, one, Spurs are doing good. Two, Leicester's are playing crap, and three, Danny Ward. I think that sums up the game. Apart from the fact that that sums up the game. I mean, Danny Ward, what an absolutely rookie. What an absolute rookie. Sorry, he's a rookie. Sometimes you look at him and sometimes you feel, is he really made for Premier League, or is it the pressure getting to
No.
him? What is exactly going on? I mean,
I
I
think-
understand. I want to give him another chance because once when Courtois started for Real Madrid in 2019, he was an absolutely awful keeper. But look at him now. So I think it's the pressure, then it's some on the team as well. And I'm really
No,
happy
but
for
I just think that if Leicester doesn't get strong signings in January,
Yeah.
they can say goodbye to the Premier League. I'm saying it right now.
You're right.
Even though they've got easy fixtures coming up now, they've got one of the most easiest fixture run now up until the World Cup,
Agreed.
and they need to get a good keeper in. Like you can't if they don't put in work into their transfer market in January, they're screwed. Royal is screwed.
Agreed. I couldn't agree more. You're right, and I don't think the problem is on Brendan Rodgers. He lost his star players this season with nothing to back up, no signings at all. I mean,
And the management is not helping him at all. They're like the bosses of the team of the club. They are not as invested in the team as Rodgers is, and he's probably gonna get his ass handed to him. Oh, sorry, can I say ass?
It's okay.
But like I'm just saying, like I'm not trying to be mean. I think he's a great manager, but you can only do with what you've got. You can't break iron with your bare hands unless you're like the Hulk or something.
22 goals have Leicester conceded in 7 games.
That's bad.
It's insane.
I'm
really
telling you, Everton is doing better than Leicester.
Yeah.
They're not even conceding goals. That's how bad it is.
You said it with Wolves, but okay, fair enough.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen, man! How the mighty have fallen. They were doing so good, these two teams. And I swear to you, when Carlo Ancelotti was at Everton and they were living their dream start, I was like, oh my God, Everton are going to be something everybody will have to fear if Carlo Ancelotti stays on. Liverpool will have something to be afraid of across the town. But how bad can it get? It's just awful. It's sort of a little fun,
Yeah, I
a
guess
little
it's
funny,
a.
but then it hurts. It
I
hurts.
guess it is a tale of a sad story. But yeah, we can jump onto the next match, which is Brentford versus Arsenal.
Oh,
Interesting game. 3 goals scored by Saliba, the defender, Gabriel Jesus, and Fabio Vieira, who I believe is a new signing for Arsenal. And then possession-wise, Arsenal dominated possession by getting 64%, and then obviously Brentford got the 36% that remains. And then formation-wise, Brentford used a 3-5-2 formation, while Arsenal used a 4-5-1 formation, with Jesus winning man of the match with his 1 goal. Thoughts on the game, Warren?
Oh, yeah. I'm totally on the Arsenal train this season. I don't know why. I've been since preseason. I said Arsenal, and people said yes, yes, they're going to get tough games. I get it, Abu. You don't have to remind me again this week. They're going to get tough teams, and then they're probably gonna choke. But they're doing with the games that they can win, they are winning them, and that is different. That's game changers, and this is not the same Arsenal from last season. Let's just get it. Let's not get it twisted. And I mean, what a goal by Fabio Vieira! Like that goal was like a screamer, and
Discuss.
and but overall, after losing to United, I think Arsenal also had like a point to prove, and they didn't go. They went, you know, and just an amazing performance overall by the whole team. I think they just did, and it's outstanding against Brentford, which I mean, Brentford isn't a walkover team.
Yes.
They do well. I mean, Tony scored a hat trick the other day, and no goals, nothing. But like yeah, I don't know, it was just overall Arsenal deserved the win,
Mm.
and they keep this spot on top of the log, and they're keeping City honest, I guess.
yeah. I mean, that game was wonderful. I was expecting more out of Brentford, and honestly, Brentford disappointed me more than Andreas ever does. So, yeah, it's sad to watch them like
We are
that.
getting to the clinical stuff when we are going to talk about Champions League. Just continue.
But
Incoming.
Champions League. Oh, I have a
Just
lot to
continue,
talk
just
about the
continue.
Champions League.
What were you going
I,
to say?
I have a lot to talk about the Champions League. We won.
Yeah,
We won.
clinical Barcelona. We are getting to that. Go on.
I was right. Any proper football fan would agree with me. Any proper football
Amo,
fan.
we're losing time. Go on. Went
You got
forward.
into the Champions League crap. Anyway, but I agree with Warren, but I don't think that Warren is completely right when in his examination of Arsenal. I mean, Arsenal are doing wonderful. They're much better than what they were last season. But when you look at the team, you realize there's not a lot of experienced players who can actually pull you out of the jam. So, when you're playing Manchester United or teams like that, the big teams, you need someone who can pull you out of the jam, someone with experience like a Kevin De Bruyne, like a Luka Modric, or probably like a Thiago Alcantara. You need these players with that creativity that can pull stuff from a bunny rabbit hat or whatever, and then help you out. Arsenal are lacking that. They're lacking players with experience. They're good. They're consistent, and being consistent is a very good thing. But I think when it comes to these teams that actually have experience, Arsenal are going to get there, as Warren said, as handed to them. And, I think it's going to be great for Arsenal, but I think that you shouldn't expect them to win trophies unless it's an FA Cup final, and they win on penalties. I'm not expecting much out of Arsenal this season. They're good. They can be top three. I can tell you that. Warren, you're not wrong. But then I feel like they're lacking that experience in the final third, sort of. So I may be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. Everybody loves a nice nice, fairy tale story. But I don't see it happening. Like I don't see Arsenal winning a trophy, just like I don't see Andreas getting some brains. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think you're being. I was saying, I was going to say, I think you're being too harsh on Arsenal. I think maybe they could get at least one trophy.
I hope so. I hope so. I really do. I really do. I'm tired of Liverpool and City winning stuff. We need new winners now. It's getting boring out there.
It's getting
Yeah,
boring because City keeps winning the league. Come on now.
Agreed. And then with Haaland, they're unstoppable.
Exactly.
Tottenham and City are the only two teams that haven't lost a game in this league so far. Now, agreed, they're yet to play big teams. They're yet to play Liverpool, City. They're yet to play Tottenham. But still, City have big games left. But you can't deny the fact that they still haven't lost a game in the Premier League so far.
Yeah, good point. I guess we'll jump on to the Everton versus West Ham game where we saw Neil Maupay score for Everton, which was the sole goal, and he was able to get man of the match with that sole goal. Possession-wise, both teams looked to have almost an equal amount of possession, plus minus 3%. And it looks like even though West Ham didn't score a goal, they had double the shots on target as opposed to Everton. So maybe there's a lack of clinicalness with the West Ham strikers. And yeah, in terms of formation, Everton played. West Ham played in a 4-5-1 formation. Then Everton played in a 4-3-3 formation. What are you guys' thoughts on the 1-0 win by Everton?
I've got a question for you, Richard.
Yes.
Why do you think that West Ham, who had double the shots on target or shots or attempts or whatever that you just mentioned, why could they not convert that? So does that say something about them as a team in general this season, or does it say something about Everton?
Listen, I think West Ham have been one of those teams that are just lacking. I think Declan Rice, I mean, he wanted to be sold for like 100 or 150 million. And I don't think he's looking like 150 million at this point. So, and also looking at the formation, they only really had like one striker up there in Mikel Antonio. But other than that, I mean, we know that West Ham can be good. But looking at their performances, even in Europe as well, they're not a team that you'd be scared to play. So I'm guessing that could be the reason, the formation and certain players in the midfield not being at their level best.
But it's like, for me, it's like West Ham is just not the West Ham that even from last season that kept big teams at bay. They kept Liverpool at bay the first
City.
game that they played. They had City. They I mean, come on, like the list goes on. Chelsea even
Europa.
I mean, but I'm just I don't know. It's not like I'm hurting my brain right now because it's not like they are losing people to players, big players, to like injuries and stuff like. Rice is still there, Antonio is still there. Lanzini is still there. All those players are still there, but it's like I would understand if the players are like injured and stuff like that, but I don't know. Like, props to Everton, and the only reason I'm fanning over Everton is because Conor Cody is there. Just putting it up.
But I think
Everton has been doing better than them for more than even the games that they drew. I'm just saying that West Ham, if they don't turn this stuff around, I mean, they're the same boat as Leicester for me.
I mean, even when Richard said Declan Rice for 100 million, I cringed at that a little bit. I'm like, if Declan Rice can be sold for 100 million, I'll be a good 25 million midfielder on any of those teams. Anybody can buy me for 25 million because I'm a good player. I'm a really good football player. Andreas knows, he's seen me play.
Sorry.
But if I have to sum up the game, if I have to sum up the game, I'll probably say this. Okay, Everton versus West Ham. the game you can draw parallels to the Barcelona versus Bayern Munich game in the Champions League. I'll
Oh
tell
my
you why.
god.
West Ham. Listen to me. West Ham
Uh-oh.
they were attacking. They had shots on target, but they just couldn't get it. The strikers didn't have their shooting boots up there, and they were playing better. But then Everton were the ones that got lucky and they got away with it. And honestly, when I first saw Everton were playing West Ham, I'm like, whoever wins, it doesn't matter because both of them are performing really bad this season. So I'm like, I was really excited to see what the scoreline was going to be. I knew it was going to be close, but I was banking on West Ham to win. So it was a
Yeah.
bit kind of a little shocking to see that. And I think what West Ham are going through are the winners' fatigue. There's some things like when a team performs really great one season, the next season this kind of start to mess up. There's very few teams that can consistently perform seasons after seasons, and that's why they're great clubs. But West Ham was really great last season, and then I think the fatigue has got on to them, and that's what their problem is right now. Because there's a lot of teams that go through that fatigue stage, like Tottenham. In 2019 they make Champions League finals. Next season, 2 months into their new season, Pochettino was sacked. So I think these teams, that what the ones that are, barely make it to the top, elite level top, they when they reach once they reach there, they kind of have a fatigue for the next season and they don't perform. Happen to
Because they
Tottenham,
can't
happen
keep up. They can't keep
to
up with the pace.
exactly. Happened to Tottenham, happened to Leicester, is happening to West Ham right now. So unless you like a Real Madrid, Liverpool, or Bayern Munich or Barcelona, you won't be able to cope up. Chelsea can't cope up. So some teams just aren't
Oh.
aren't made.
No, but I agree. I mean, there is you every team when you are not a top team is going to go downhill. But I think there is a difference in going from being what was West Ham last season, 7, 8, they're playing Conference League, to now maybe even getting relegated. I think there's a difference from Spurs or Leicester that's going down from season to season, and then West Ham going from 8 to maybe getting relegated now. I think that's a bigger gap than it should be.
Yeah.
So that's my point with it. I completely agree. Of course, they're going to go down. They have been doing that this great for the last 3 or 4 seasons or so. But this is a lot. Like this is too much a gap from where they were last
Yeah.
season. Yeah.
I agree, but then you never know how much of fatigue actually hits him. Sometimes it hits him too hard. Sometimes it doesn't at all. Like after 2015, everybody said Real Madrid are not going to win in 2016. They won in 2017.
Why is it always Real Madrid you're using? No, but you're right. As you said with Leicester, Leicester is the same. They're down. They are going this down now. But this has been over more seasons. Like they went from being champions a long time ago. It has gone down. Surely there have been 7 and 8 the last couple of seasons. But it's I don't know. It's more logical now in a way than I think it is with West Ham. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. I guess that covers game week 7 for the Premier League. It's been a one to remember, I think, in terms of the amount of goals and sort of like checking how.
And only 7 games.
Well, weeks rather. But
yeah, true.
Yeah, I guess we can jump on to the next sort of like topic, which is going to be Champions League match day 2. There have been some interesting back performances from certain managers. I think I'm not sure if it's the English Premier League is like the new Farmers League, because like I'm looking at some of the teams here and we're just not doing well. I mean, some teams even won last minute with last minute goals, and it wasn't convincing. So I guess the first game. I guess the
I
first
think we
game.
discussed Sporting and Spurs last week, yeah, Richard?
I'm sure we can just make a quick
How about
summary.
the 3 of us discussed it? So why don't we let Warren share his thoughts on it?
About
we
what?
Shared ours. We shared our thoughts on this game last week on the podcast. So why don't you share yours and then we can move on, because we've already discussed
the Sporting versus
yeah, Spurs game.
The what
We
game?
have Spurs because when we did the podcast last week, this game was
Yeah.
already finished. Yeah, so we discussed our views. So why don't you share your views and then we
I
can.
didn't personally. I didn't watch the game. To be honest, I didn't.
Mm.
But I was quite surprised that Spurs lost. I didn't because even in my prediction, I said Spurs would win. But I mean, after Richarlison's, whatever moment he had the previous game week, to I mean, for Spurs, I mean, to lose in Champions League game and they're winning Premier League games, it's like, and I mean, I'm not knocking Sporting or anything like that. I'm just saying that I was quite surprised. To be honest, I didn't watch the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah.
I think that game played the same time that the Liverpool game played, which is why I didn't watch it. Just to be
Yeah.
honest.
I think I'll just try give a quick summary. Obviously, the two goals were scored literally in the 90-minute period of the game, and everyone thought the game would likely end in a draw, or maybe
Yep.
Tottenham would score the extra time goal, but they didn't. Both teams had an equal number of shots, which was 12, but Sporting had 6 shots on target, while Tottenham had 5. So it seemed like a really even game kinda, with Tottenham still having less possession, typically known for not really keeping the ball but using their counter-attacking skills with the skills they have, and both teams line up in a 3-4-3 formation. So I really don't know what went wrong for Tottenham. Really, like I don't know. Like I don't
I
know.
think I think maybe they thought they had it in the bag when they thought it was
Like,
like in the extra time and or like in stoppage time already, and I think they just let the guard down at the end, and then it was just like boom, boom, and
Hmm.
egg on their face, I guess.
and I
But like I
think it
don't really
was.
have any, I don't have really, I don't know. It's just like it's weird for Spurs to drop points like that when they've
It's
got it in the bag.
Yeah,
I
I think
mean,
it's like what Andreas was saying, that, with the Spurs versus Leicester game, is it proving that Spurs is a really good team, or is it just proving that Leicester is a really bad team? And maybe this game actually gives us an answer to that question. Maybe Spurs were just lucky that game.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I already said Danny Ward. That's the answer to your question.
Okay.
Danny
Yeah,
Ward.
but I think you also have to think about the teams from Portugal. They just don't underestimate the teams from Portugal for real. Like they are good. They are good. And so when you get to a match where Spurs is probably not playing their best, Sporting is going to use that. Then they're going to use that against you. And I think I've said this before, but I think we talked about it last week that Spurs is this kind of team where they are good and all this, but the mentality to be champs and all that kind of stuff, that's not there. So when they go out and play these Champions League matches, they don't have the mentality that, I hate to say it, but Real Madrid have when they play.
Sorry. You said
You,
what?
you
Sorry.
heard what I said. Well, you heard what I said. But Spurs don't have that. They don't have the same kind of experience or mentality when you go into these matches.
You're right.
And,
I mean,
and that's what you see.
I want to support Spurs, but then results like these just make me think otherwise. Again, if I
Um,
had to sum this up in a line, this Spurs versus Sporting game, you can draw parallels to the Barcelona versus Bayern winning game.
yeah, I guess back to La Liga references over there with Abdis. Well, I guess we can jump on to the next game. Abdis, by the way, cool shirt. Liverpool versus Ajax.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously the scoreline was 2-1 to Liverpool, with Matip scoring that goal in the 89th minute, and then it goes again. Our English team's really that good, with these lucky last minute goals that are putting them over the edge, or like what's happening? Is the English Premier League the new Farmers League? And also, looking something that frustrates me about Liverpool, looking at stats right now, is that we had 24 shots, and then Ajax had 3, right? 3 shots. And then we had 10 shots on target, while the latter had 1. It's like we have so much volume in terms of the number of crosses we get. And in terms of the shots, we sort of like hit, but there's just a lack of clinicality, and it's just so sad. I feel like if maybe Liverpool had a player like Haaland, we'd probably be scoring like maybe five, 6 goals week in week out, and it's really sad. But anyway, going back to this,
Um, let me just
Liverpool,
say, let me
yeah,
just say, Darwin Nunes is totally overrated. I'm saying it right now. I'm a avid Liverpool supporter, but I think
same.
that was one of the worst signings that we've ever made, and we made such a big hype over it.
Andy
It's like,
Carroll,
it's like yawn fest. So, sorry, I'm being honest, and I'm the type of Liverpool supporter. When my team is playing crap, I say they're playing crap. I don't sugarcoat nothing. That's just how I am. If they play, I don't hide away and whatever. I'm there. I will say we're playing crap. And did we get lucky? Maybe yes, we did get lucky with
yes,
the ball going over the line from Matip. Did we play better than we played against Napoli? 100%. We did play better. I'm glad Salah got his goal. However, I'm glad we beat Ajax.
yes.
I'm really happy because it gives us more of a fighting chance for the Champions League. But I feel like clinically we need to improve. Thiago's back, and we could see it made a difference completely.
Mm.
Um, After the international break, Konate will be back, Henderson will be back, Jones will be back. So I feel like this is a good time for Liverpool. I'm glad our games got postponed, and let we just need. I just feel like they need to settle their nerves. I don't know. There's this unnerving feeling when I watch Liverpool play nowadays. It's almost like they can't get control over the game, and it's not the Liverpool that
Confidence.
we used to. It's like. It's like even against Everton, we couldn't get anything in. It's like it's the hardest thing to watch as a Liverpool fan, to be honest. And I would say it again. Darwin Nunes is the worst signing they've made this season. Um,
Do you
it's
think he
just
can get better, or are you already there? You're like, this, there's no chance.
He can.
I'm hoping. I'm hoping. I'm absolutely hoping. I'm not writing the guy off. I'm not
Mm.
writing him off. I just feel like there was this big hype made about Darwin
Yeah.
Nunes, and you can see on internet the people are comparing him and Haaland, and look at how many goals Haaland has scored, and look at he's got two goals, two.
Mm. Mm.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I don't want to do the comparison thing, but I feel like this is not the Liverpool that we are used to. We normally win games 3, 4, 4 goals, and now it's like one. We win games by 1 goal. It's the most frustrating thing. But I'm glad we won. We're not out of it yet. Just saying. We can move
Okay,
on.
first of all, props to Warren to just be like, listen, my team is not playing well. Darwin Nunes is overhyped, and I don't like it, and we need to do better. It takes balls to say stuff like that. Honestly, Darwin Nunes was really overhyped. The first bid for Darwin Nunes that was sent to Benfica was actually 30 million overpriced. Benfica confirmed it themselves. But just for shits and giggles, Benfica said pay us 100 million and Liverpool were like, done. I think they should have negotiated. And Benfica said they have better strikers available to them in their academy. So I think Liverpool definitely overplayed over there. And when it comes to Liverpool, it hurts to see them play like this. But then I think something needs to be changed. Some tweaks need to be done because it can't keep going on like this. You guys can't keep winning one games with 1 goal differences. And the worst insult, Manchester United defeated you. That's the worst insult I would give anybody at this point in time, even with Maguire on the field. So yeah, I think Liverpool need to step it up, man. I mean, I think the problem is in midfield more than it is in the defense, and I think yeah, I would love for them to make a comeback. Honestly,
Yeah, I guess we can jump to the Bayern versus Barcelona
The
Barcelona
most
game.
critical team in the world. Here we go.
We'll hear Abdus's thoughts on the game, especially concerning
I'm gonna do videos.
Barcelona.
I'm gonna do videos for this one. So you guys talk, but then when I do my videos, I want nobody talking.
Okay, you'll be the last to speak. So it seems like both teams had a decent, even amount of possession, with Barca sort of like having slightly more possession by 4% more, obviously because of their tiki taka playing style. Both teams had an equal number of shots on target, which is four, and almost the same passing accuracy. This game was actually kind of sad to watch because it looked like both teams were really I want to say kind of on an equal level, because one team was trying to score on the other side and then went to the other side back and forth. But the result seems like, Bayern kind of dominated Barcelona, which I don't think was the case. But Andreas, what's your thoughts on the game?
Yeah.
Andreas.
um, I think Bayern just knew what was going to happen. They knew Lewandowski was going to come. It was all about making sure he did not score. And
Exactly.
and I've said this before, I think, but Bayern is they're just scary. Like I can't explain it, but they're just so scary in a way, because they just know what they're doing. I know you're not a fan of their manager,
No,
and I get it. Of course, every team will be in ups and downs periods. I get that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just think there is something. Because everyone was like, okay, Lewandowski is going to Bayern. He's going to score.
Exactly.
And of course, like, it's Lewandowski. But they just know what they just know what they're doing. And that, it's just and I think it's true that they probably not played the best game ever. I think Bayern has played better games, but that just is they just know what they're doing, and suddenly it's 2-0 and the game is over and they're going home with the points, and then it doesn't matter. Did they play good? Did Barcelona become the most clinical team ever? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because Bayern won 2-0.
Exactly.
But I do believe that they'll bounce back. They'll definitely bounce back. It was just a tough game. I feel like it was a bad day. Yeah, they're gonna bounce back. They're gonna bounce back. I just feel like it was a bad day at the office for them. It was just it was an off day. I feel like I wouldn't say Barcelona is the best team in the world. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that don't write them off yet. But against Bayern, I mean,
I don't think it's Barcelona being bad. I don't think.
Yeah, I just feel like Bayern
just,
really was the better team at the end of the day.
Exactly.
So it was a bad day at the office. I feel like.
I would be shocked if Barca and Bayern is not the two teams to move on. I would be really shocked if they don't.
I think Barcelona forgot their shooting boots at home that day. And I love that Andreas brought up the logic that he said that, it doesn't matter what the scoreline was, it's the result that at the end of the day matters. Then I'd like to remind you that it doesn't matter if you defeated Real Madrid 4-3 at Bernabeu. What matters is that Real Madrid moved on this season. Anyway, I know you hate that.
What did you get again? What did you get?
We won the Champions League, something you haven't really done.
I thought you said 3 points. I was just going to say you did not get 3 points. You just moved
No. I'm not as dumb as you, sorry. But yeah, let's
was Real Madrid the most clinical team in the world in that match?
Of course, absolutely.
Sure.
I mean, Benzema scored a header from at least 15 yards. Rodrigo scored a volley. What else do you want? And they were losing.
I mean, yeah, sure.
If that's not being clinical, then I don't know what is. And it doesn't matter if a team is clinical or what the scoreline is. At the end of the day, what matters is what the result was.
So it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Okay. Last week was the most important thing in the entire world, and now it doesn't matter.
Your words. I'm quoting you. To me, being clinical is important as well. It's just how you end up winning it or losing it. But I think being clinical is important. I'm just quoting you. But anyway, let's share the screen. I'm going to try and show you some of the chances that Barcelona missed in the first half. Okay. And then you will realize that Barcelona, when I was watching the game, they really did look like a team that good.
I think while that is setting it up, there's something we can chat about. Oh, there we go.
Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Is my screen visible?
Yeah.
All right. We'll watch like a minute or two, but then you'll see. See, look at how many players Barcelona has put up for attack. There's 5 players on counter-attack. They're committing players for counter-attacking. Look at Lewandowski's work rate. They're not messing around. Now this is a sitter. Pedri should have scored this. There was literally no power in the like in you know um, Warren said it just was a bad day at the office. It's not it's just sad that the attackers forgot their shooting boots at home. They were
So,
actually doing really really well.
so you believe that if do you believe they would have won if they scored a goal? Let's say they
Of
scored one goal.
course,
Okay.
of course, if they had scored two, then the entire
So,
game would have
so
changed.
you believe that it was Barca not being good enough more than Bayern being better?
I think Bayern are lacking something. I wouldn't
Mm.
say that they're the best team or they should win the Champions League. Barcelona are nothing, something you don't want to write out. They're actually doing great.
Absolutely,
They're
absolutely.
actually great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess we can jump to the next game. Thank you, Abdus, for the video analysis. Okay, I don't want to laugh too much about this game, but it's obviously Chelsea lose this game. Obviously, maybe Andreas will think it's a disappointing result, but
Yeah,
this was Graham Potter's first game, and
yeah,
we saw him in a cool haircut, in a suit, and you know, there's plenty to talk about, and
yeah.
with how he played his formation. Sorry, my internet seems to be not being cute. Well, I'm still trying to get the stats for the game, but I I think the way what's his name the manager put Cucurella to be some sort of like false centre back was quite interesting to to see.
Yeah.
And okay, I'm back with the stats. So it looks like both teams had almost like an equal amount of shots on target, while Chelsea really dominated the possession by having 73% of the ball. And yeah, Chelsea lined up in a 3-5-2 formation, while Salzburg lined up in a 4-3-1-2 formation. Andreas, thoughts on that?
It's not good
Yeah,
enough.
can I start? Sorry, Andreas. Can I start?
Of
I
course.
just have
Go
a
ahead.
few lines to say.
Oh my
But
god.
I mean, I mean, I did not watch the game because I don't like Chelsea one bit. But if I had to sum
But
up the game,
Thank God.
in
If you had watched it, you would have said we were the most clinical team in the world, and we should have won
no,
5-0.
no, I wouldn't say that. If I had to sum up the game in one word,
You
I'd
did
just
not
say
see it.
a joke. I'd just say a joke, and everybody laugh. Chelsea. I mean, just look at them. They're awful. Changed managers, brought new players, and they're bad. They're still bad. Awful.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had the opportunity, I'd probably give that money to Leicester. They would have done some difference. Chelsea just horrendous.
Ah.
Andreas, let's hear it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we are just bad, but it's not good enough. It's not good enough. I can't lie and say, oh, I mean, the only thing I can say is it's his first game. Like I hope and I think there is potential. I hope Potter knows what he's doing, and I think he is. But I mean, it's just a really difficult game. Like his first game, and watching the game, it was not even like there was not a lot like Potter in it. It was just like if I did not know we had a new manager, I would have said, okay, this is Tuchel playing. And I guess, I mean, sure, there will always be some changes, but
Yeah.
I understandable. So like it's his first game. I can't expect him to go on and it's going to be completely different. Not yet, but it's just not good enough. Like there is 6 games in Champions League. We lost the first one, got a tie here. It's not good enough, and I can't be like, oh, it's okay if we don't go to the last 16 because we had a new manager. No, that's not how it works. You can as a Chelsea fan just be like, okay, it's fair enough because we got a new manager. We still have to be one of the best teams. We still have to be that, even though we have a new manager. So I so far I can't really see anything that makes me think, okay, this is Potter's team right now. But I think it's going to come. It's just is it going to come too late? Like, is it going to come in a situation where we are out of Champions League, we are not finishing in top four of Premier League? Then it's just not good enough. And yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, I think looking at the game in terms of how Graham Potter tried to play them, because I mean initially I was kind of confused because I know Cucurella is like a wing back of sorts, and him being
Yeah.
played in the centre back was quite a different role, and he kind of did well, even though he was quite far contributed, made those runs to put in those crosses, even though he was kind of centre back position, and the way Sterling was positioned was also interesting too because he was the left wing back, I believe, or yes, left wing back,
Yeah.
and he was almost playing like a left winger, sort of like he had an interesting position. That's not how we normally see Sterling play, and it helped with the way sort of like Graham Potter was playing because it's almost like he made most players of Chelsea to be on the right, and
Yeah.
then it gave Sterling space to play and have some combinations with Kovacic, who had some good off the ball movements by sort of like dragging players off to the corner and giving Sterling space to come in and have those impactful goals or shots on targets and crosses. I think Sterling really did well. I'm not sure if he was man of the match for this game, but yeah, top class to him. I didn't expect him to do this well, but of course, Sterling.
Yeah.
If we ever have to do another podcast on a Thursday night, then I think Andreas is probably not going to be around because he'll be busy watching Chelsea playing Europa League. So yeah,
Probably.
of the
I
season.
mean, honestly, right now I would be happy if that was the case. That's probably our only chance at a trophy right now.
Winning a title.
If we are that lucky.
You need that winning mentality, like Real
Yeah,
Madrid
and
has.
that's what I'm saying. We really need that, and it won't be good enough. It's not good enough. I can go like, oh, okay, Potter is a new manager, so it's fine if we just don't get relegated. No, it's not fine. We have to be in Champions League. We have to be at least top 8, and we have to be in top 4 in Premier League. So surely I can find a lot of excuses and say, oh, it's his first game and it's going to happen sooner or later. It's not good enough. Like it isn't. It's not good enough.
Yeah, I guess with that we can jump on to the last game we're going to be covering concerning the Champions League, which is the Man City versus Dortmund game. We saw Jude Bellingham score the first goal in the game, and then I mean, a lot of us were hopeful that City might actually lose it, but City were having some Real Madrid magic come back to them, and then they scored 2 goals by obviously John Stones, the centre back.
Say what? Sorry, Richard, I lost you for a minute there.
I don't know what you're talking about. And Haaland scoring a goal. And in terms of stats, it really looks like City had more shots on target, and then obviously City dominated possession as we know them. But yeah, thoughts on City almost losing it and the all important comeback.
Just a comment.
Yes.
City had no shots on target within the first 60 minutes of that game. I'm just saying. If you read the stats, they had no shots on target. If you watch that game, you would see that. So just to say that City was not. Yes, I know, but I'm just saying. For majority of the game, they didn't have any defensive tactic. They were piss poor in the first half. It was unlike City. It was like it was a goosey in the first in the first half. So yeah, I was actually I was crossing my fingers and my toes and everything. Like, please, dear God, let them just lose. And they obviously didn't, because the minute you start hoping that City loses, they start freaking scoring goals for some reason. So John Stones obviously screamer again. I don't know what's happening with these players out of the blue. People that never score goals are scoring goals nowadays. And obviously Haaland getting another goal in. No surprise, Biggie there. And I can't remember who got the third goal. Or was it? Oh, it was 1-2. So yeah, and then obviously Jude Bellingham also did a great goal of his own. Yes. So yeah, it was a good game. It was interesting to watch, but City. It was interesting to watch City not play at the best.
City getting CT'd.
Exactly.
Let's face it, Champions League is not City's cup of tea. So come on, we expected that sort of. But then I already told you guys that Dortmund are gonna put up a good fight. You don't have to write them out. My prediction was 3-2 to City, so I was not wrong about the goal difference at least. And I think that Dortmund did really do a great job.
Yeah, I think I also got this one. I got it on the money 2-1. This one.
Yeah.
With the thing about City not being a Champions League team, that's outdated at this point. They are not a team that has won Champions League, surely, but the last 2 years they were in a final and they lost in a semi-final. And the semi-final they lost to a team that won. Not mentioning any names here, but just saying. So the thing about City not being good in Champions League, that's outdated. They're not good enough to win, but they are good enough to be at least a finalist. But I was surprised about Dortmund. Dortmund really surprised me about doing this good. Like I thought City would win 2-0 or something. But I also feel like there is some problems in City's defense that we can't ignore. Like surely they have Holland is going amazing in offense, but I mean 1-1 against Villa, I think it was in Premier League. And when Villa can score against you, that just shows there is some problems. And it's the same we saw here with Dortmund. So yeah, I mean City won, they should win. But much closer than I thought it would be. And Dortmund is looking better than I thought they would. And I don't know how they're doing in Bundesliga, but
especially with the players they've lost. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they lost Holland. I think they're actually sixth or something in Bundesliga.
Yeah.
So
Bundesliga.
It's really impressive that they can win 4-0 or something against Copenhagen and then almost beat City. Yeah, sucks.
Yeah, I guess we'll jump on to the next topic, which is going to be the Europa matches. We're going to start off with Sheffield. I wish Hector, our American friend, was here because he's a huge fan with teams. So Man United scored 2 goals against Sheriff. Both goals came from the first half, with Jordan Sancho scoring in the first 17 minutes, and then Ronaldo, more famously known as Penaldo, scored a penalty. And oh my God, I got up this.
Let's talk about their head. Nobody's calling him that.
I mean, what goals has he scored other than this penalty?
No. Zip it, bro. Zip it. Don't call him that.
I guess, but City. I mean, United had twice the amount of shots on target than Sheriff, and it looks like Man United dominated the possession. Obviously, we know that's the influence of Eric Ben Ten Hag, as I call him. But yeah, thoughts on the game?
Yeah,
I didn't watch the game, so I'm not gonna comment. I didn't watch the game at all. Yeah.
I mean, a little off the topic. I did watch the game. It wasn't that great or interesting. It was, okay, like a fair game. But Warren, I'd really like to know your thoughts on Ronaldo. What do you actually think? What's happening with him? Because I want to know, coming from some who loves the player but supports the opposite team. I really want to know what.
I idolize Ronaldo. I think he's one of the. I mean, I don't think Manchester United deserves him, to be honest. But let's not talk about that. I don't know. I think I don't think his heart is in that team at the moment. I don't think his heart is in Manchester United. It's been gone. He wants to play Champions League, and it shows in everything that he's doing this season so far. It's like he's being subbed. He's being benched and being brought on at like the 80th minute. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't think Ronaldo is staying at United. He's a great player, but I just don't think he's gonna stay there. His heart isn't in that team. It resonates in everything he does, because this is not the Ronaldo that actually carried that team last season. I'm just saying he carried Man United to Europa. So I'm just saying, yeah, I don't know. I don't think his heart is in that team, and it shows, and it's clear for everybody. 1% that tells me that Ronaldo wants to play for Man United. They can go. They can kiss my tulips.
I think it's pretty clear that Ronaldo doesn't want to play for United. He has even said that, I think, multiple times
I
now.
want to play for them.
And so I mean, when you are that experienced as Ronaldo are, you should be able to still play and still, I mean, do your best job even when you don't want to be in a team. But at the same time, I understand that he is not going to play for the next 10 years. I mean, so I understand that he wants to play Champions League. I get that, and I think it would have been best if they just got rid of him and got him to another Champions League club. But I think about the match, I think it's they should win. I mean, everyone loves Sheriff. They beat Real Madrid. The ultimate team is Sheriff in the world. But I mean, United should win this. United should win. 2-0 can really be a shock. But yeah, I hope Sheriff does better in the next couple of matches. And if United doesn't go out winning this group, I think that would be a shock. So United has to just continue, and it is matches like this that they have to win.
Yeah, absolutely. Not sure if everything still seems okay. I guess the next topic, which I should think would be our last topic, is going to be the England international squad.
Right.
In terms of which players were selected and were not. Warren,
I need to leave soon, so I'm just gonna say that the fact that Harry Maguire is in the England team is kind of like like what the hell, and the fact that Bowen is in the England team, what? I'm just saying there's other people that should be in there, Henderson and Sancho, but that's my thoughts. I don't think England is going to do very well in the World Cup. Maybe they surprise us, but with that team that they currently have for this 2-game international break, we'll see. But any team that Harry Maguire plays for, they lose. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah,
I think with as we said, I think it's important to remember that this is only for the 2 games that's coming up now. I think this is not for the World Cup, so things can still change. He can still choose to play with other players. He can realize that Maguire is not good enough, and
I mean, Harry Maguire hasn't even played for United for the last how many games? Like, how can he be in this, even for this 2 games in the squad? That's what surprised me.
Yeah,
because he didn't even play, but he's in the team.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah, it is shocking, and I think it's kind of like I think it's time to question him as a manager, because it was the same that happened in the Euros final against Italy in the penalties, where he chose some players that really did not really have experience with penalties, and that ended up probably costing them winning the trophy. So I think he has done a decent job, like getting them even to the final of the Euros. But I think it's time to consider, is he the right manager? Yeah.
I mean, if he isn't the right manager, who's going to replace him? Graham Potter. He's going to be switching jobs like, I don't know what, a free agent.
I mean, they can choose everyone. That's the good thing with or not the good thing, but that's the thing with managers for national teams, that you can choose everyone in the world. Like, it doesn't have to be an English manager. They could
Yeah,
choose Tuchel if they
Can
wanted
we
to.
talk about what Bowen is doing in that forward line? Because he's done nothing. I'd rather put Sancho. If not Sancho, then definitely Rashford. They have performed better. And the goalkeeping lineup, just look at the goalkeeping lineup. It's insane. The amount of depth they have, it's insane. Some real good depth. And I think I personally put Ramsdale in the goal, or probably Pope. But Pickford
penalties.
is probably going to be my third. Uh, and the team looks good, but they have a lot of defenders in there. I think I'd put some of more forwards in there. Like I would love to have Rashford and Sancho playing,
He's
but
injured.
Bowen,
Yeah.
I'm having questions. Abraham, I'm having questions honestly.
Yeah, I mean it's. I mean they look like they're quite heavy in terms of the defenders they have, and also the midfield. Because obviously we know Trent, who I think is the best right back in the world, can also be a good central
No.
midfielder as
Please,
well.
please don't talk like Andreas. You know we don't like
Yeah, I guess I don't really have much to say about the English team, but I'm happy to see Bellingham on there because I mean I think he's a cool player and
I,
it. Yeah,
I, I
future
think I
Real
think that there is some legs. I think whereas Sancho, I can see Sancho, whereas Rashford. So
yeah,
so so there is some legs, but I mean, first of all, against 2 games. That's how I understand it. So that's one thing, and the other thing is if we really look at like most of these players are not going to play. Like he's going to have 11 players, then maybe 5 players that he will use as subs throughout those 2 matches. And I think
yeah,
if we just look at a starting 11, I think there's Foden, Kane, Sterling, Grealish can play as well. I mean, just in as forwards, Mount, Phillips can do well, Rice can do very well. Ward Prowse have been probably the best player for Southampton. Bellingham,
absolutely.
I think there is. I think to make a starting 11, I think they will have a fine job. But
Potential.
there is some. But you can argue that depth is not good enough. But I mean,
think
just
that they have a good midfield depth as well. I mean, look at Gallagher, look at Mount,
yeah, yeah,
Rice, Phillips,
yeah,
Ward-Prowse. They're all good players. Bellingham, future Real Madrid star. All these players are so great. And
yeah,
the only problem I have with so many defenders on there, I'm like, do
yeah,
you really need those many? When
yeah,
you need more forward options, if you ask me,
yeah.
and definitely some more midfielders. Or maybe put on Rashford as a midfielder, like he's play him as a left mid. But I think the number of defenders like Guehi, I don't think Justin, these people don't make the cut, to be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
And
I think yeah,
I'm absolutely happy about just one player on there, and I think that's Bellingham because he's one great player, and I'm really glad that Real Madrid are gonna get him somewhere. He would
yeah.
be
I,
perfect
I,
with.
I think I think as a team it's looking really good. I think the shocking part is that Bowen has been chosen or Saka has been chosen over Sancho.
Possibly. I think this could also be a pressure tactic. Like, if you don't get chosen now, then you want to work harder so that you can make
Yeah,
it to the World Cup
yeah,
squad.
yeah,
And maybe that's what Southgate is doing. He's trying
yeah.
to pressure Sancho and then Rashford to actually put in that extra effort and then prove that they actually want to go to the World Cup and do something nice.
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I think that should sum it up. Unless you guys have slightly more. Oh, maybe the last topic you can talk about is where is Tuchel most likely to go next? I mean, he's rumored to possibly go to RB Leipzig or
I've heard
potentially
Bayern
go to
Munich.
Bayern.
I've heard Bayern Munich, but I've
Um,
also heard that if Carlo Ancelotti retires next season, then they're probably going to give it to Tuchel. Tuchel's going to come on in. That's what they're saying.
oh, I mean, look, I mean, imagine how dangerous Bayern can be with Tuchel there. I mean, he's
Would you want that, Abu? Would you want to?
Tuchel, yeah, well, he's an absolutely wonderful manager. I think I'd love to have him.
Okay.
I'd love to have him. But not when Carlo Ancelotti is here. Carlo Ancelotti is something else, man. The man came in last season said, like, if Vinicius Jr. doesn't goal 30 goals in a season, that's unfair. And actually, Vinicius gave 44 goal contributions. This season, he says, if Federico Valverde doesn't score 10 goals this season, I'll tear up my coaching license. He's already done 4, and it's the season's not even halfway done. So I think Ancelotti cannot be replaced. He's giving breakout seasons to 5 young talents that I don't think anybody could. It's not easy to have 5 talents just break through and emerge at the same time in the same team, and on a level as big as Real Madrid's. I mean, insane. He's doing a wonderful job. You have Chouameni, you have Camavinga, you have Rodrigo, Vinicius, Federico Valverde. He's giving them that a little extra oomph that was.
We were actually talking about Tuchel, and now we're just talking about Real Madrid. That's the power of Abu just making about his own club.
Point is, I don't see Tuchel, you know, making talents, giving way to talents to
He's known for
to
that.
yeah, he doesn't give way to youngsters. He just uses what he has or buys something from the market and then does what he does. He's not known to develop talents, and that's something I'm afraid about, because Real Madrid has a wonderful talent academy. We have a lot of players that are waiting to break through, but they cannot because the first team is so stacked. So I wouldn't want Tuchel right now. If I can keep Ancelotti for another year or two, maybe, then yeah. But no Tuchel right now, not right now. I'd love for these players to develop and then maybe have Tuchel for 2 seasons and then see where we go from there.
I think no matter what, he's going to a top team. I think he's still on that level, and Bayern is a possibility. Leipzig, I think Leipzig would be really cool. So yeah, that's not quite a absolute top team, but still.
So my question to you, Andreas, is if Tuchel signs for Bayern Munich and then we see a Bayern Munich, which is Chelsea match, hypothetically speaking, but in the final 16, I know that's not going to happen because Chelsea are not going to make it to the final 16. But if hypothetically they do happen to make it to the final 16 and they are they are playing Bayern Munich and then Tuchel is managing Bayern Munich, who would you support?
You're not seriously asking me that question, right? But okay, see guys, this is the thing with Abu. Abu, when Ronaldo he moved to United, Abu starts supporting United. That's the difference with Abu and me. I will always support Chelsea first. That's not Abu. Abu is supporting the players first and whoever they are playing for.
No. Real Madrid comes first, and the second team I support is wherever Ronaldo goes.
I will never support Bayern, no matter who Bayern is playing, no matter who is the manager. I hate Bayern. I'm scared of them, but I hate them. No, I will never support it.
I mean, to you probably are afraid of Bayern Munich, but we are Real Madrid. A good friend of mine once said that Real Madrid has a winning mentality, so I don't think I fear anybody.
Anyway, I guess
saying it yourself. You just called yourself a good friend. Oh my god.
I guess that'll sum it up. Heated debate between a Chelsea and a Real Madrid fan.
Barca is the most clinical team in the world. Let's go.
I never said that. I said they look clinical in the first half.
Stop this. It's over.
And just
Barca is the most clinical team in the world.
Whenever you stop talking, you make people want to leave.
Warren left when you stop him for talking.
Warren left when you were talking.
Okay. That'll cut it. Thank you for everyone that's watching. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Who knows? Please like, comment, and hopefully subscribe to the channel and help us grow to be one of the biggest football podcasts in the world. We'll see if that happens. But yeah, from us, that's it. Goodbye.